Thank you so much for sticking around to hear me after you've already heard such fantastic readings tonight. This is really fun. And actually, I think I do insist on anarchy to differ with that quote, and also lassoing in. Okay, so I would like to read you a few poems. This first poem I'm going to read you is a sonnet, and I wrote this poem because a friend of mine asked me to write it. It was a boot rime poem, which means a sonnet, which means that a lot of people get the same sonnet N-words, and everybody tries to write a sonnet with those same N-words, and the N-words are deliberately difficult to make good poetry from. So I'll tell you what the N-words are, and I'll read you the poem. So the rhymes are, okay, June, yeah, that's a good one for poetry, stress, moon, obsess, we're off to a good start, right? Snake, moot, cake, butte, garbo, play, hobo, day, rhinestone, and cologne. Okay, so you have to take those 14 words and make your poem from it. And you know, something's wrong when you have to put your poem in landscape to get to those end rhymes. That's not usually how you see sonnets published. So this is a little bit anarchic, but I hope you have fun listening for those words to show up. And okay, so it's called Piaf, after the torch singer. And her famous song, Non, je ne regrette rien, makes an appearance right at the end. So this is kind of an after the prom scene, that most poetic of all scenes, or actually after the hyssop for Hitchcock themed sock hop. So here it goes, Piaf. A hyssop for Hitchcock themed sock hop, Butte June, blooms broom high o'er the parked cops, mixed with the stress of sweet-strewn donuts leaking from the vents. Skinny Jane and Heavy Dawn share a cigarette. Moon, oh moon, Egyptian, Holocene, their heels kicked off, the clicking off the tile effect of moonlight on the pyramids, scene of alligators, hippogriffs, the indiglo glyphs of conquistadors, and many-toed jackanape saints and rabbits and giraffes and Mormon maps, and the strip bit of your ankle strap, the track your shoon leave on the putting green, a pitter pattern to distress, obsess. Ah, 'tis feet. Well met, that's a point for thee, and a pack of window green at a wascamat to clean the jeans of late spring adolescence, gone to seed in our shower shoot snake length of tube. Our prowess set us straight to the court of moot, and then mock on to the judge's chambers. The shimbly-shambly nylon robes for acting in, the president's post-parade shortcut cake route, party head on, shimmy under the suicide bunting. The sub-queen's a strung-out cutter, but a beaut, yea, a coffee cup ring Venus, doe-eyed, decoyed shallow lakes for laying down my garbo lines, long, pale legs paler underwater. Flip her over like the play Ophelia, face up, face the flowers, face facts that the gig's up, but the show must go on, and you're wasting some very tray-rich hours on this no-show hobo. And now I hear, beyond the promenade, his whiz-bang, the dolphin of day, blowing his astral snot in the gross array over the horizon. The rhinestone trees bend double now to gather stays and car keys, tumble from their décolleté, je ne regrette rien cologne. So given the roaring success of my first attempt to write a formal poem, I thought, hey, I can do this, I'll write a sestina. Now, those of you guys who have studied this stuff know that the sestina is based on the number 6, right? So there's 6 stanzas of 6 lines and 6 N-words that repeat in descending order on every stanza, right? So that's it. It's all based on the number 6. So these are the N-words I came up with, and you can hear them cycle. So the N-words are jams, bonnet, carton, bender, tumblers, simple, and day. So if you caught that, that's not 6, because I messed up when I wrote the poem, and I got all the way to the end thinking I was like now a brilliant formalist, and I realized that I had written a septina instead of a sestina. So this is my septina. And because it was sort of spiraling out of control, a lot of crazy things, sort of catastrophes started entering the poem, which started out, you know, a very well-behaved poem. So this is where the magic happens, and this is where I make my jams on the little marvel with a turtleneck lesbian forma, a quart of scotch bonnet, a quart jar of scotch, rotten blueberries smashed like meth mouth forgotten in their carton. Outside, a quantity of Maine rips off the line and flaps like Robert Lowell on a bender to land amid the low rocks in the bay. Ambitious tumblers escort wide quantities of rum, lime juice, ice, and simple syrup through the complicating hours of the day. A string of mint leaves over the private hours of the day. I mean the parts called private by the guards who cold wire the man by his joints to the jam like a lamb, and his guards are also called private, though none of these any longer are. Nothing simple as this degraded square of photograph. Her GI greens, his restraint bonnet. It points portentously, and then it lists. From Breton maids, bonnets rise like doves or tumblers on an unseen wind that will blow them up to heaven through the tops of their heads like poems or suicide bombers. Light as meringue or the paper collar of a Corona or the 12-pack carton of Corona Robert Lowell lifts right now to Madre Maria from the depths of his sort of Catholic soul bender. He's a Yankee Catholic Confederate, or now he's a beat, as all zones are the same to God, who loves us Eastern, Central, and particularly Mountain, where, on the public access line, DJ Denver answers questions from the unborn again about the black powder-shaped universes spinning backwards towards the first big bang of day, when God said the word and light poured down like smokes from the carton. In the same breath, he sets his oil well on fire. He oils the jams and axles so they all fall open towards catastrophe. The human race, like plastic monkey tumblers, shall be packed back into their toxic barrel and destroyed. Nothing could be simpler than undoing this species that wants to hold on to flesh like a pathetic flea, black bonnet of its carapace popped under a thumbnail's pressure, life reversible as a metaphor. On the bonnet of the Aston Martin, a meek-angelic fresco of lost insectoidal life. For the night cometh when no man can go on a bender, or go back and add 2 commas to that sentence where the phrase could be hypothetically excised or simply left out altogether. That phrase being your life. As days left out overnight turn pale with moisture, as days roll back like eyes, tumblers shake in the lock of life like paper tigers. The gate rattles open, the enjambed centuries tip, the oil lamps flare, boxes of manuscripts and booze and conflagrating curtains and couches jam the ether already ashy with smoker's breath, cat gut, whalebone buttons, bon mots, the hair where venom is stored, and the soft tissue where memory is stored. And the cartons of Super 8s where memory is stored, and the typewriters with jam returns are stored, and school days bent over nailed-down desks of memory. The boys stood in the burning schoolroom with the enemy combatant for whom the ash rises from this world like tumblers from the circus net, as was foretold in the second stanza. If it were not so, I would have told you. Rise is like the ringing of a bell to the simple world of day without days. Maybe. Amen. All boiling down to a burnt and sour sweet jam, a green gauge, a glass bonnet with a stern judgmental lever on it, snapped mightily into place. Carton bender simple tumbler day. So now just a couple of quite short poems, like really short, don't worry, from this book. Okay, this book is A Common Dream and Other Poems, and this poem is called Bugs Bunny, so I think we all know where it's coming from. Actually, it's called Bugs Bunny, or The Mirror That Hid a Little Camera. This is Bugs Bunny Appears. I can only do one and hold the book. I'll do this. I'm run down. I have a sunburn. These ears are my liability, but they hold a lot. Like the crazy wheel on the shopping cart, I schlep and schlep, and then I pour out all my opera like an anvil. This poem is called Battle Scene, and it's based on looking at painted battle scenes. In the foreground, the general's top coat, the inside apple white, most suffocate in the collapsing tunnels. In the background, I've already deserted. I skate around the mill pond with wooden blocks for feet. When I notice the locals catching on, I become a little strut in the bridge. And this poem is called Spectacular Attacks, and I wrote it now many years ago in the lead up to the Iraq War, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Spectacular Attacks. When you hear of spectacular attacks, recall how they will appear in night vision, green blooming into the sky, tight sprawling Easter sprays. This is the heat the building yields, a familiar production. When the bear pedals short, the cloth clown climbs a wire to diffuse what's perched atop the telephone pole. This is the confusion of a volatile formula, the outflowering of nourishment bad and good for you both. You clutch at what flies from you. You watch from the outside, wandering brick. And to follow a little bit of what Thomas did, I'm going to read just a prose poem, but it's actually an excerpt from a sci-fi novel that I wrote about a future without schools or cities. Hard to imagine. It's called Flet, and it should be coming out in 2 years, I think, from Fence. But in the meantime, I will read you this part of the book. And because it has this education theme, I picked up on the incident in Beslan, the massacre, Chechnyan and Russian security forces coming together there, unfortunately, and trying to think about an episode like that and trying to have empathy for those mothers. And, you know, empathy doesn't come easy in this world, right? Because everything is an image that you see on TVs, and you have to really work hard, I think, to get through to the people on the other side. And so this is my attempt to do so, and in the context of the book, it has context, but who needs it? Here it is. Fata Morgana. And I saw a Chechen mother with a black scarf on her head that had a beautiful green pattern, and that's where the poem begins. The black scarf knotted at her nape plots a green epidemic on her skull. The black skiff skirts a knotty sea, a needle in mourning weeds, a razor-edged reed, a toothed fish, a decision in motion. Not me yet. Whipping up the foam of the sea, a fate or a fait accompli. Who wants to be drawn out? Who would want to wear this crown? Poised on the crest, down in the flood, rests in the pit, hurled up. Aurora Dolorialis, spider riding, green vernal ink, dawning branch. Scrawl from which I'll never rise up. I'm down now. I lie in the graphite dust. Burning, the atmosphere snags, and the child's writing lights like a fuse. These are the Russian-made night vision goggles that were his eyes. These are the slick children's vitamins that reflect light but don't produce it. Coin in the hand, coin on the eye, twist of bread, coin in the mouth, a child's braid. The wisps pull loose in the photo on the grave, the milk tooth in the clay. The skull glares back, drinks the day into its channels of vision. A big-veined valley empties sightless amid the hills of the hand, a future written in roots in roads on the bottom of the lake, and now the future silts closed with dust from the bit factory. Wastewater shuttling with industrial gems. To drink it scrapes the throat, to become raw and written on. It makes a surface inside. Cone of flowers in the hand untwisting, stitch dropped. Rotting flowers sickling the halls, revolting aptness hose it down. Everything drains away to become unreadable. Somewhere the purest water lies where everything has come undone, reduced past its separable elements, but not yet. Insufferable catalog, nose cone of the shuttle, fish bones sunk into the rose to swim the spent oil black, choke fish turning mammal, fin turning manual, refuse fish, man turning mama, mad dog barking at her capsule horizon. It comes back constantly, hypofangs glinting with the light flown by the various satellites, thrones natural, man-made, mother's milk, simulacrum. Saliva way, milk way, lymph way, phlegm way, filament way, light bulb way, tinder way, coffin sleeve, pillow slept, the humors of the universe. Pour them out and sift them back. In the closed and continuing classroom, the brass brace holding up the earth, soundproof windows, crayon-shaded continents that fit the child's hand, calm child sleeping between the lines of the lined paper, between the red line and the blue line, pencil in hand, plot the difference between the top of the letter and its tail. It makes a stuttery document to be measured but not read, the single letter stuttering across the page, never onto the vowel, the heart of the word, which we supply in stereo, hurling it into the air, into the roots, into the stocks, into the knockoff microphones, into the community boards, the sympathetic magic of peripheral democracy wired to nothing, only bouncing lightly off the satellites. The knife's glint, but not its edge. No one feels it. We enlace ourselves. Everything waits to be crowned or drains away, heads and tails. We draw the pictures and burn them up. We drink and we bleed. The moon comes up. At the bottom of the channel, the purest water lies. We don't believe it. We move back and forth, drive the warp through the grid, gird and fifth-rate nylons. The sweaters and shawls of man-made fiber, our lot. It must be worn out or nothing destroys it. It neither burns nor breathes. And this is my last poem, so I can breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you very much for having me. This next one. And this poem is called Percussion Grenade, which is perhaps appropriate to this noisy little atmosphere we find ourselves in tonight. All right, here we go. Let me put this down. Percussion Grenade. 1. Is it okay to live inside this percussion grenade, giving the high sign to the frogmen sucking mud, the all clear to the women rolling their hair into 40s processionals. In my gondola of clouds, in my percussion grenade, I loaf and invite myself to lock and load, dine under the table and stir the alpha soup with my epipheneedle, the thick hours of my rifle butt. I cause a eutrophied current to glut and push close. What a worry worm. I blot it, smile out, and sigh. I atrophy in my percussion grenade, and I defy any paste sayer or ruddy snop to decry the sanction of my equipage. 2. In this scene, I'm tricked out like a Valkyrie banshee, my shins patched with splints, my mouth stretched to fit a pure gold baptismal font, my hair like armor, my hair like rags, armored vehicle breast shield shriek, my rhinocerine eros, the inevitability of fate, the way my hips shake, the way my death rattles. How do you tell if there's a goddess of destruction and death in your refrigerator, in your bed, in your cathode tube, in your IV, in your snack box, in your Yorick socks, in your parking sheen? How do you tell if it tell at all slowly, if at all, tell if at slowly, tell if at all, if at carefully, or all in one breath? 3. O-P shriek, O-P shriek, opine of mine, crescendo macaw, a magpie with a car alarm and an airplane and a patented genome, a reinforced cockpit door and a pop-top brave, a vivisected aquifer, shunted and split 10 ways between here and the San Fernando Valley and the Rift Valley and the Cusk Valley and the Rhine and Tuscaloosa and South Bend and St. Mark's Bettis and St. Mark's. O-Giola Galala, O-P Orkney Islanders, Bush Twins, O-P Cree, O-P Entropy, O-P Enmity, O-P Evisceration, O-P Omenology, O-P Genocide. How your guts spill out tells me how you die, how you died, how you died in the post-death time zone on Mars, on the Stygian plains. Skinny now, what scattering of finger bones, what dice tossed into the sky became your clutch of daughters, lost to history with last week's literacy. It had a dying fall. O-P-C-3-PO, tell me if you know, if everything that lives is holy, how I know more about celebrity divorce cults than what's happening in Baghdad, Washington, Compton, Philly, Montgomery, Tashkent, Quito, San Salvador, Saint Denis, Darfur, Kabul, Kabul. OP indeterminacy, OP indistinction, OP incrimination, OP indignity, blame, enmity, hatred, bile, melancholy, criminal lack of empathy, dead shrink, curse of static, lime quick eviscerating grave, clean clothes, the uterine black hole issues a bull in B flat, the color of the universe is green, OP wick, OP window sash, OP conflagration, OP universe, OP lunchbox, OP sandwich paper bus fair machete music. The blood unfolds like paper from the hewn lawn of the skull, shaking the map out, reams of material. The blood-washed clothes are good for something, but the 8 months gestation and the 16 years horniness and the 90 years senescence and the 70 years mellowness and the 35 years brilliance and the 12 years sweetness are good for nothing. 4. Okay. Okay, okie doke. Yes, yep. Alrighty. Sure thing, that's cool. That's dope, that's affirmative. 10-4. How many words for acquiescence in the English language? I consent. I agree. I'm down with you. 100%. That's peachy. Just fine. Hot dog. Yeah, That'll do it. Works for me. I can live with that. It's a deal. Sure. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, okie doke, oh geez, oh cream cheese, oh Nimrod, oh neon, oh moron, oh cloud, oh creep, oh shit, oh fuck, oh damn, oh okay, give it to me, it's a deal, I'll deal with it, okay, I'll take it, it's okay, I can take it, it's cool, it's cool, it's the shit. It's the suck, it's the waste, it's the grave, it's the bomb, it's gravy, it's awesome, it's great, it's okay, okay, it is, I tell you, yes, it is. Is it okay? It is. I tell you, it is. It's okay. Are you sure? I tell you, it is. It's yes. Well, are you sure now? I tell you, it is. I give you my word, it is. It's okay, I promise, it's okay. It is? Yes. Are you sure now? Yes. Are you sure now? Yes, I'm okay, I tell you, I promise you, yes, it is okay, okay? Okay. Thank you.